Hey guys, welcome to another of Vendel's weekly arcade quest tutorials. Today we're going to be talking about the quest REDACTED test program, as well as discussing a little bit about the Assassin's Creed event that's going on, and some of the things you can get from it, and what makes this arcade quest particularly valuable to do. Unfortunately, I didn't make a video for last week's, but my personal opinion was that last week's was a little bit easier, and the rewards you got from it in terms of the event effects and stuff were large. You got quite a few of them for just completing the weekly quest. Even so, the time investment to complete this weekly quest, though it is more difficult than last week's, I think is still worth the payout of event emotes, equipment, and etc. that you can get, so this quest is very well worth doing. I do want to also apologize for my voice today. I'm a little bit sick, and because of that, things are just a little bit weird sounding. It's part of why this video got out a little bit late. Also, the Christmas season. Can't deny that that had an effect on it as well. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about character choice like we normally do at the beginning of each one of these videos. So first off, Blade Blockade, in my personal opinion, isn't actually the most useful thing in this one, because a lot of times you're going to be going up against more than one opponent. And if you can't go up against just a single opponent, full blocks aren't extremely useful because you're going to get hit when you counterattack afterwards, no matter what, by the other enemies. Therefore, I just recommend any character that's not an assassin. The higher health pool, as well as the ability to have a standing guard, is just going to benefit you. You certainly can do it with an assassin, but I stand by that statement that it will be easier with any class that isn't an assassin, just because of how this arcade mode works this time, and because of there's some hyper armor that some of the enemies have. So getting into the first test, this is Sim 1 Genetic Test. What is life? Consider this question as your test begins. So we're going to be up against two Samurai Templars. These Samurai Templars are going to be... They both respawn. This means that the primary focus here is on getting your executes or finishing them both at exactly the same time. Additionally, the Aramusha is uninterruptible, so you can't just simply trade things with him, which makes Blade Blockade helpful because it actually stunts it out of him, but I find the more effective and safer way to go into this is to just simply engage both of them so the Shigoki is also fighting you and use revenge to get the kills. Additionally, there is an attack boost. I didn't find you need it because this one isn't too difficult as long as you know how to handle Aramushas and the nonsense that they put through. But there is an attack boost that you can run down and grab at the beginning of the fight. If you do so, though, only the Aramusha will engage you, and it'll be a little bit of an escape struggle necessary to get to the Shigoki to make yourself actually get into the fight the way I recommend, which is going for your revenge building. Alright, so next up we have Sim 2 Dog Test. Most impressive. Would you say you believe in God? There's no right answer. Wrong. I personally believe in God, but that doesn't really matter, so we're going to move on. So today we're fighting, for this one we're fighting a Berserker and a Warlord. This is a fairly easy little phase. We have at our advantage high hit points from attack, and we bleed to death. But there are minions, so it's pretty safe to just keep yourself healed the whole time, and there's also a pit at your disposal if you decide you just want to quick kick them all into the pit and celebrate. It is that easy if you feel like it. Both the Berserker and the Warlord are pretty predictable to try to open out for a guard break or some other kind of kick that gets them into the pit. If you want to actually engage it realistically, I recommend running into this fight from the left because there is the kind of typical captain soldier that'll fight you there as well, which in my opinion, because of how slow he is, you just kind of use him to add to your revenge meter. As you're fighting, if you ever get into a tight spot, you take a little bit too much damage, the Berserker's hassling you for whatever reason, you can just let off some AoE spins or disengage for a little bit and beat the crap out of the minions. I really recommend doing this if she starts blocking or parrying you hard during your revenge too, because it'll get you back to full life by the time your revenge ends. Because of this factor alone, this phase is extremely easy. After you finish the Berserker, or if you take too long for the Berserker, the Warlord will engage. If you're able to finish the Warlord fast enough, you can get over to his pool of minions, and there's just a lot of them for you to kill. So you're not going to run out of things to heal yourself with. I don't really know what else to say. Warlords are one of the easiest level 3 AIs to deal with in my opinion because of how predictable a lot of their moves are, and they can't really easy feint out of many of them either. So just kind of take the guy down, and like I said, anytime you're feeling a little worried about your health, disengage and kill some minions. You do that and you're going to be square. So that's another victory. Like I said, this is one of the easiest phases. So next up we now have one of the hardest phases. In fact, I would say this is the hardest phase. So butterfly test, you continue to surprise. Next phase, a flap of wings can change the world. True or false? I would say true, but I mean, what does it really matter? Because the world's going to be changing anyways. Okay, moving on. Why are there so many philosophical questions in this? I don't know. So this one's hard because the Orochi, who can hassle you hard with fast attacks, is uninterruptible, which just sucks. The Kensei blinds, that's not too bad. The Nobushi, who would be your best friend because she's the most predictable for giving you revenge, instead has a huge damage boost, so you can't let a single one of her attacks slide through or you're going to be dead in just hits. There is some ledges here, but I found as I was trying to cheap shot the fight using the ledges, it's very difficult to try to get any of these three AIs in a position where you can safely kick them off the edge without exposing yourself to even larger risk. Because of that, it sucks, but I really recommend just trying to get through this with your revenge as best as you can. The prime targets are, in my opinion, the Orochi and the Nobushi. Kenseis I have a harder time dealing with than the Nobushi. However, the Kensei is, well, it has a much less dangerous modifier. Therefore, in my opinion, he is the person that you want to leave for the end to handle yourself. Because if you leave the Nobushi to the end and you're at even a little over half health, she gets a single hit off and you're dead. If you leave the Orochi for the end, his uninterruptible makes it so you can't trade with him, so you really need the revenge to get through him. So the final test is the Awakening test. Stupendous job, Initiate. Hey look, there was no philosophical question this time. So we have hit points to regenerate, which if you're careful, can work out well for you and you can make use of. He does a lot of damage, he has a lot of hit points, and look, he's uninterruptible, which is one of my least favorite things to see, because it means you can't capitalize on him with normal like dodge attacks or anything. This is part of the reason assassins just don't do well on this quest, which is a little sad given the fact that it's an event quest for Assassin's Creed. Also, this guy is just a reskin of a Tiandi, so if you make the mistake that I did here before I knew that, you go flying off the bloody edge. Don't do that. Watch out for his kick, do not line up for any edges, and you'll be fine. So, there is a few things to note about this fight. He's highly difficult. I still struggle to know how to deal with Tiandis. I haven't quite learned how to play against them super well yet as the Aramusha, but I mean, Blade Blockade works well here, other full block attacks work here. Dodging is going to work well here, except for the fact that he's uninterruptible. There is these boosts here at the back of the arena that you can make use of. So I recommend that you do not engage on the bridge, because there are archers that will shoot you. You do not expose yourself to this ledge at this beginning. You roll past him, make your way to the buffs, get the buffs, and then handle him as quickly as possible. There may be a little stagger in the music there. I'm sorry about that. I just had to leave it on the pause menu for a long time there because there's stuff going on during the recording. But anyways, so you get back here, you bring him back to this location, and you deal with him however you best can. Handling uninterruptible can be really annoying. Because of that, getting parries off is probably the safest way for most characters, but even with the parry off, if you start an attack, you can't even do 2 attacks, whether you're going to feint the second one or not, before he's already hitting you out of it because of his uninterruptible stance. So just kind of handle him in stride, use the buffs. If you don't do good damage to him during the opening, I honestly just recommend just rebooting if your buffs ran out, because he's going to be hard to deal with if you end up having to play defensively that entire time. But you keep at it and you'll beat it. This one is far easier to complete than Phase 3, in my opinion. And then you'll be finished, and you'll get a ridiculous amount of rewards. So I should have shown a picture of the rewards at the end of this video, but I, for some reason, decided to close my captures like every time that I was doing it. But you do get a ridiculous amount of rewards. We're talking around the area ball game of, even on subsequent clears, like 4 of the effects, a good 3 or 4 outfits, and at least 1 or 2 new emblems and something else. Like, it gives you quite a lot for completing this quest. And I've done the event just a little bit, the event mode, and although it is fun, I think the quickest and easiest way to earn just event effects is just doing this. So if you want those effects, if you want the things from this event for your characters or your heroes, just keep running this and you'll start unlocking them in bulk. quite quickly, especially if you're able to clear it decently. For me, the biggest struggle really was just phase 3. If you're having issues with any of the other phases and you want additional pointers for your class matchup, I can try simulating some of the fights in the training arena with another class. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will do that. That's pretty much it for this video. There's not too much more that needs to be said. So with that note, I wish you all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, what have you. Happy everything. This is a great season. I love the winter season. I'm up here in Alaska right now, and it's beautiful outside, and it's wonderful. Remember always that your modifiers modify your playstyle. Get those event effects. This is one of the most effective ways to do so. And just enjoy your winter season. I wish you guys all a very, very happy holiday season. Laters.